So you guys seen the red GMC that we did for Scott? It was a pretty cool older gentleman. Trying to make this less like an interview and more like just a quick description. So Pib Extra, it's a little spicy Dr. Pepper. Anyways, we did a torqmax 3 tick cam in that, so it made a good linear curve. Fast lsxhr, comp 850 lifters, CNC head from Katech that he provided, and then retuned it, and it picked up like 82 rear wheel horsepower, which is huge.
So what was it like? What's the baseline of the truck? 'Cause I've missed it the day.
361 with a sloppy stage 2 and a TBSS intake, and everybody's most sought after combination because it seems cheaper, even though it's barely cheaper. But the dollar amount isn't very good if you're buying a cheaper cam and it only makes 360 wheel when you can buy a better cam and a little bit better intake. I mean, what are you guys paying for those TBSS intakes with a throttle? $200-300 right now? Well, the fast is $1,000, so it's like...
It sounds intimidating, but that is a really nice intake for the money.
You're trying to make your truck fast, or you're trying to make your truck just barely better. So, I don't know. I spent a lot of years being cheap on stuff, and it never really worked out, so... Not to bash it, that's great, and all that good stuff, but if you're taking this truck apart and you're building this truck, like somebody built that truck initially, it was an Lq9. They put 243s on it. They decked the heads. They put a sloppy stage 2. They put a TBSS intake on it. They did headers and a dual exhaust. The truck made 361 wheel. Like I said, so we did not touch the exhaust. We didn't even touch the air intake. It's the same Chinese air intake that's on it, like a cheapo one. And we literally changed the intake manifold, the throttle body, the camshaft, and the cylinder heads. And the lifters were already beat out of it because that cam's a little aggressive on Velvet Train, a little sloppy, like as it's described. So the lifters didn't look too hot, so we put new lifters in the head gas and stuff. But anyways, yeah, same compression ratio. I mean, it picked up 82 rear wheel horsepower. That's huge because that's still with the stock Gen 3 mass airflow sensor. I didn't even get rid of that. There's probably a little bit of power into that if we switch it to a 5th Gen 1, which is just another rabbit hole. But anyways, truck's super cool. Scott just wanted to go 11s. I think it's going to go probably 1170, 1180. And if it doesn't, then we're going to switch the converter because it only has a 2800 Summit stall in it that he was sold misrepresentedly by the last guy. Said he had a nice Circle D in it. When I drove it, I was like, no, it's got a cheap converter in it. So if it doesn't work out, hopefully Scott will jump into a bigger, nicer quality converter, because I mean, if any of you guys know what converters do, they convert horsepower from the flywheel to rear wheel horsepower, so they're a very crucial component in your drivetrain system. So I don't know, don't cheap out on a converter. Buy a good converter. They're worth their weight in gold. So anyways, we'll throw some clips in here, we'll put some other stuff, and then when Scott takes his track, have him send me some videos and we'll upload those as well.
So before we go, like, what is the cost, like, because everybody's on budget, like the number one phone call, number one thing we get. So what is the cost, like, so these guys have an idea with the fast, the heads, like the stuff you guys did to gain that extra 80?
I mean, it's a couple bucks.
I mean, gaming's not cheap, I mean.
Right.
But at the, like...
We charged him $1,575 to do the heads and cam, $600 for a dyno tune, $367 to do the fuel lines, and we did, cleaned up the wiring and stuff and extra stuff that we didn't really have to, and even then I only charged him about 50 cents on the dollar just to make him a deal. But I mean, we did 6 AN crossover lines, 4 AN fuel rail fittings and fuel lines, block off plugs for the heads, new gaskets, front timing gasket set, transmission cross member. We did a lightweight trans cross member because I had the big blocky one. Energy polyurethane mount, MSD plug wires. We used some miscellaneous brass fittings, comp 850 lifters, OEM LS2 head gaskets, OEM LS3 motor, an X-Link, 102 BBK throttle, the fast lsxhr, and the Tick torqmax cam kit. It was $6,400 with labor and parts, and the parts were $3,500, and there was a lot of stuff we didn't need. I mean, so we didn't need that expensive of a throttle body. We didn't really need that other stuff.
But I mean, if you're going with that expensive intake, stuff like
that.
It's
a super nice truck, so why skimp out on, say, the lifters? Why skimp out on the plug wires. Why, you know, it's like, it's little things here and there, but that intake manifold, a bigger camshaft, like, they work really well. We back-to-back that intake manifold on Dick's truck versus TBSS, and it picked up 30 rear wheel horsepower.
So
I mean,
you can refer to the video on that. Like, we got a video pointing it out.
Not cheap, but it's very easy. Like, here, I'm gonna put this intake on top. I don't have to tear the whole motor down. I don't have to drain fluids. Didn't lose any torque anywhere, and picked up 30 rear wheel horsepower up top, and went 1,000 RPM higher. So, in a racing aspect, RPM is force, so that's huge. So it's a very good value if you're into making your truck faster. So if you ever question it, that lsxhr is the best intake that we've used on the Cathedral and Rectangle ports so far. Like, they're awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, if you take it to a shop, you expect 2,500 to 3,000 labor and 3,500 in parts to pick up 82, you know, wheel horse over what was already provided. So think if you did it the first time, when you do things twice, it's drastically more expensive. So disregard the first 3 or 4 grand he spent, throw it in the trash, because that's pretty much what happened. The cam was kind of beat up, the lifters were all beat up. I mean, the guy wasted 3 or 4 grand before to replace it with good quality stuff for 6,400. So like I said,
and now Scott's got a great base for nitrous, for supercharger, for whatever he wants. So that's what I wanted to point out, because I think we should start adding that in there, like a cost on stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So customers see. So
very transparent, so I have nothing to hide.
No, but yeah, like the cost, because like I said, number one phone call, number one message you get. What's the cost? Well, now they can see what the cost will be.
Yeah. Well, we got a ton of packages, and like I said, we did a lot of extra stuff we didn't have to. You know, like I said, the fuel line stuff, didn't have to do all the stuff, but we cleaned it up, and then the trans cross member, and then, you know,
it goes a long ways.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like you said, he took it to a car show, and everyone was like, "Wow, that looks nice." And it's like, those truck harnesses don't look the best.
No.
They're kind of a cluster over top of the intake, in between each other, doing that stuff.
I mean, you're still cleaning yours up. I'm still cleaning mine up. It's years in the making of making them truck harnesses look good.
Yeah. So, and that's time. Time is money. So, yeah.
Alrighty. We'll
All right.
call it a wrap there.
Yeah. Enjoy the video, guys.